we have to RIP one of the legends of Hollywood, one of the great Hollywood actors of all time, Gene Hackman. They they got him, chat. Somebody got Gene Hackman. I don't know. Well, I guess technical reports they're saying like no foul play or whatever, and I don't still like know full on what happened. Again, this happened yesterday, so outside of yesterday, like in terms of looking up reports and stuff, I haven't really done much of that since then. I don't know if we want to like try to live expose what happened to Gene Hackman and his family, chat, but yeah, him and his wife passed away, and a dog as well too. I think there's a pet in the mix as well. They had been found after some time in a house, and terrible situation, chat. Gene Hackman, 95 years old. So I mean, 95 years old, you hate. I mean, the circumstances are terrible circumstances, of course. Having just to find somebody that's been on a live chat for a while is not an ideal scenario. But at 95 years old, we just in general you got to tip your cap to. It's a tip of the cap, chat. Our annual, weekly, whatever, just when you need to segment, the tip of the cap. And this week's tip of the cap, do we need like a graphic or something? This week's tip of the cap is to Gene Hackman, chat. The legendary Gene Hackman. And not that, you wait for people to pass on to need an excuse to watch their movies, but when they do, it's like, well, now you've got to, of course, memorialize, you've got to honor them, and you've got to make sure to put the Gene Hackman movies back in the rotation. And, of course, iconically, chat, iconically, but most iconic, known for, well, I guess at least for me anyways, the number one Gene Hackman role that you think of anyways is the coach from Hoosiers, chat. I feel like, well, IMDb is saying The French Connection. I mean, that was definitely in the mix as well, too. Again, it's like, what's the first movie you've got to watch to pay respects to the great Gene Hackman? Salute to the life and legacy of one of the greats, chat. But, wait. I'm used to the mobile app. Where's, oh, duh, chat. Look at that. IMDb screwed in. Stunts? Gene Hackman did stunts? Which movie did he do stunts in? Oh, The French Connection. He was doing his own moves in there, I guess, chat. But I mean, do we need to just start it from the bottom, chat? 1961, Mad Dog Cole. Not much going on, of course, but when I was going through and just, of course, any actor that has a big, pause. Hey, yo, chat. We probably should have finished that sentence. Hey, yo. But any actor that has a long career in Hollywood has the potential to, of course, just stack up a great IMDb just by the terms of, the fact that they've been around for a while. I mean, it's like kind of like a player as well, too. Like, I know, like, what roles do the player have in choosing their own team a lot of the times? How often do, like, really great players ever actually hit free agency, versus actors, like, choosing their own movies? But, if an actor is around for enough, they're and you're a good enough actor, you're probably going to stumble into enough good movies. But just the iconic IMDb is Bonnie and Clyde. And I'm not, of course, going to get, like, know off the top of my head here which ones he's going to, like, perform in order and stuff. But I guess this TV series here was getting some critical acclaim. Do we need to go back and catch up on some of these 60s TV shows, chat, to get the full scope of the Gene Hackman career? His first role as a Norman. So, I mean, Gene Hackman, if there's anything that he can play in movies, he could play a Norm, chat. It is what it is. Could Gene Hackman have played Norm Macdonald in a movie? I mean, eventually he goes on to play Coach Norm in Hoosiers as well, too. But could they have changed Lex Luthor's name to Norman Norther, chat? Something they could have workshopped Norm into the Superman comics somehow. But in terms of, like, the most iconic, just popular, what has everybody probably seen movies that Gene Hackman has done? I mean, The French Connection is, yeah, if it looks like we're going through the timeline, this would be the first, like, classic movie. Oh, I guess Bonnie and Clyde. Did we say that? We said that one already, chat? Yeah. I Spy. Oh, another TV series. What's this? I don't know why the I Spy caught our attention, chat. Oh, Bill Cosby, jeez, chat. It is what it is. Is this the first ever, big Cosby breakthrough show, chat? His first ever TV role. Who knows? Probably won't be going through, well, the Bill Cosby IMDb. It could be interesting to go through just the IMDb. We're not watching the movies, I guess we're not judging anybody. Well, anyways, chat. Back to Gene Hackman. Is Bill Cosby still alive, chat? Because what? OJ passed away. So is Bill Cosby. I forget. It's hard to remember sometimes, but I don't. Sorry, R.I.P. Gene Hackman. We didn't mean to bring up OJ and Bill Cosby in the Gene Hackman eulogy chat, but yikes! IT, cut that out. Are we live? It is what it is. Anyways, moving on. Yeah, the French Connection was one of the three ones that I had it narrowed down to. The big three that I was gonna watch right away for first Gene Hackman watch would have been French Connection, Hoosiers, or chat. And again, it is to honor Gene Hackman, but The Quick and the Dead, Gene Hackman is in this movie with Sharon Stone. So it just becomes like a question of, do you want to watch, maybe the best Gene Hackman movie in The French Connection versus the basketball movie in Hoosiers? But that's a close one versus, best versus just basketball. Maybe Hoosiers is the best Gene Hackman movie. I don't know. We can make that case, chat. Do I need to go back and listen to the Hoosiers rewatchables and see if they said anything about that? But we'll see where they put the Gene Hackman Apex Mountain. But maybe working with Sharon Stone. I mean, there's an Apex Mountain in there somewhere, chat, if you're working with Sharon Stone. So those were this is the three options that and not that I'm saying that those are the only three Gene Hackman movies that you're watching right away, but yeah, in terms of just watching right away. And then I say that those are the only three Gene Hackman movies that you're watching, but in terms of what was the number one, and again, I'm not power ranking or drafting Gene Hackman movies. I mean, come on, chat. We all know what we would be drafting. Oh, and I forgot Crimson Tide as well too. Yeah, because Denzel. But then it was well, we're watching it for Gene Hackman, so it became Denzel versus Sharon Stone, which is a debate to have, chat. That will make you. That's a debate where you'll sit there all night debating which movie to pick instead of just picking the movie. It's like Denzel, Sharon Stone, which way do we go? But yeah, turns out, like we said, Hoosiers is the iconic Gene Hackman role for us. So it was Hoosiers last night, chat, and I had it on in the background for a while. So I threw. I had it. I tried to, because it's not shout out Hoosiers, but it's not streaming anywhere, and I guess spoiler alert, I don't own it or wasn't gonna rent it. So I was trying to see if I could find this Hoosiers movie out there somewhere. So pulled it up on the computer, found a link somewhere. Chat, IT, don't make sure YouTube doesn't take us down for talking about how we're trying to pirate this Hoosiers movie. But yeah, we were able to tap into the dark web and get this Hoosiers link to play, but I just kind of, threw the computer to the side and was, it was throwing it on at night, because last night there was only one TNT game. And then, speaking of pirating, chat, the Timberwolves Lakers was the late game, and it was NBA TV. So instead of it being the national broadcast, they tap into the local broadcast. And for us here in the Midwest, the Timberwolves local broadcast is in the blackout restrictions for the league pass and when the Timberwolves aren't playing those national games. So when the NBA TV is broadcasting those local games, the NBA TV, even though it's kind of national, it goes into a local blackout like that. You'd have to go watch the game on whatever the local version of the channel is, which I'm sure we could get in some streaming package somewhere. But, again, we're paying for somewhere, and we're not going to pay for just to go see the Timberwolves and local TV games, especially since, maybe you don't always have to as well, just because, again, they play on national TV sometimes. That's what we're saying, not the other way around, but wink wink. But because some of the games were wrapped up early, it was well, we can throw Hoosiers on and plus Hoosiers, it's like studying the tape, it's just a different kind of basketball to watch anyway. It's all the same, chat. Are we going to be talking about Jason Tatum starting this game and the Celtics starting off 11-0 versus the Cavs? That's right, chat. Celtics Cavs tonight. But are we going to be talking about Coach Norman Jimmy, chat? Which one? I just came here to tell you I don't care if you make the team. But the link that I found apparently wasn't like an English audio version of the movie. So I was like 25 minutes into the movie before I like was like really like I guess it took a second to was really moving and shaking, chat. But pause. But hey, yo, that is kind of a pause. But it took a couple minutes into the movie for me to realize that like, oh, wait a second, this isn't English. Like they're not speaking English. So we had to go back into the web chat, try to find another link, and get this Hoosiers movie to play. But we got it. Coach Norm. Shout out Gene Hackman. Oh, loose cannons? What's this, chat? Did we just... I mean, is this just like Gene Hackman roulette? Just pick a movie and get a classic? Look at this! They literally just pointed us in the direction of what Gene Hackman movie they want us to watch tonight. It's on Tubi. A 4.9 stars is not ideal, but an unconventional cop who takes a no bull... an unconventional cop who takes no bull is paired up with an amazing detective to capture some power criminals, but the cop soon realizes that his by-the-book partner has split personality disorder. So Dan Aykroyd has split personality disorder in this movie. Little bipolar Dan Aykroyd. With some Gene Hackman. Some Nancy Travis, chat. I mean, this might be one to throw into the watch list. I'm not going to lie. Again, I think a lot of Gene Hackman movies are going to be thrown into the watch list right now, but I think who knows? We just stumbled across one that maybe... I mean, you know, you say Gene Hackman and Dan Aykroyd. It's not a long conversation to get me to watch that movie. It's definitely something that feels like it could be in our wheelhouse. But definitely the Supermans as well, too. In terms of, again, iconic stuff as well. Where did that line up in the timeline here? Was Superman actually the first? Oh, no. French Connection was... Or no, sorry. Bonnie and Clyde was way down here. Am I putting a lot of stock in Bonnie and Clyde, chat? I feel like I haven't seen this in a long time. Because he's not Clyde, right? Yeah. Warren Beatty's Clyde. Gene Hackman. Buck Barrow. Michael J. Pollard. Faye Dunaway. Yeah, I am putting a lot of stock in this movie because seems like it's a stacked movie. Okay, we got an 86, a 7.7. Yeah. I think we're remembering properly. So it's one of those guys that you're like, if you just... Because I was thinking about this watching an Ice Cube movie the other day. Because... I was talking to Champ too once, like right before we were hanging out one time. I was watching an Ice Cube movie. It felt like every time for a while, like before we went to hang out, like I just always had an Ice Cube movie on there for a second, and I was like, I didn't realize that. And you know, maybe it's just my own bad for not realizing this, but that Ice Cube's filmography was one of those ones where it's like, if you're gonna just take an actor and take all the movies that he's in. If you take Ice Cube, like you have a pretty solid stack of movies to go through and a pretty diverse. I mean, make no mistake, the Ice Cube career is, you know, diverse in a lot of ways. But just looking at movies, I mean, you get everything from the 90s and some of the early stuff he's doing from, you know, Boys in the Hood, Friday, Higher Learning. And then you're going to get the later 2000 stuff like the Jump Streets. And the Jump Streets are like some of the better comedies, I think, of the... 2010s anyways. Is the first one 2010s, I think? Because, a lot of those Will Ferrell, Judd Apatow stuff is, 2000. So I'd have to go figure out where all the 2010 stuff for that lines up as well, too. But, I mean, the Jump Streets are right up there as some of the funnier stuff. So it's like Ice Cube if you get the stack of DVDs of all of Ice Cube's movies and that's what you can own, it's a great collection of movies to have. Like, if you get the Gene Hackman stack of the Gene Hackman collection, chat, and are just getting all of these classic movies like we mentioned, Crimson Tide, the Quick and the Dead. He won the Oscar for Unforgiven, right? Little Bill? I'm pretty sure that this was the award-winning Gene Hackman role. And do we need to just go look up the Gene Hackman resume here, chat? I think it's only appropriate. Shout out Gene Hackman. It's our fault for, waiting this long to mention a Gene Hackman movie as well. But how many Oscars did he win? Because he got the one, and I believe that was supporting for that. Did he win Two. Oh, and he did win for the French Connection as well, too. Okay, so the French Connection, unfortunately for that Dan Aykroyd, what was that called? Loose Cannons? Oh, it makes sense as well, too, now, chat. You get, I mean, one guy that's a little bit, you know, like he said, no bull, rough approach with the cop. And then one guy with the split personality where he's a loose cannon because you just don't know which way he's going with the personality, even though maybe one of them is like, you know, a super locked into The Firm. I mean, look at this, chat. There's so many. Wyatt Earp. So many iconic movies. The Firm was another one. Unfortunately, that one got kind of ruled out quick. Not because The Firm's not a great movie to go back and rewatch. I mean, Tom Cruise classic. 234, you know, it's a little bit on the heftier side. It's a thick movie, chat. Now, you know, we're not against a thick movie, but apparently last night we were not in a thick movie mood. So 234 was pushing it a little bit. You know, Hoosiers, you're getting it under that hour. But you get Ed Harris in this one as well, too, chat. Tom Cruise, Gene Hackman, and Ed Harris. I mean, come on. Hal Holbrook. Iconic old guy face. I mean, one of the best old guy faces of all time. And Gene Hackman, too, one of the best old guy faces in kind of the other way, where just really always maintained, like, look at this chat. I mean, I don't know how old he is here, but they said he was 95 when he passed. And I saw a picture of him in some of the articles and stuff that they're reading of him, like, not too long ago. It's like, you know, for 95, strolling around, he's looking pretty good. But he always had that tough guy approach. I mean, if he was swinging on a guy at 95... you wouldn't be surprised. You wouldn't be shocked. They don't make men like this anymore, chat. They don't make Gene Hackmans. Maybe it's because the just amount of smoking, maybe the way that kind of creased everybody up in the 70s and 80s and all that stuff, but just the tough guy, look at the farmer guy strength, chat. Look at him just tossing people around here. I mean, they don't, the hefty dad bod tough guy. Bring him back, chat. Bring him back. These are like all the old classic guys. Oh, running the drills. We had a coach, low-key, that from one of the few basketball teams that I actually played on, chat, that just kind of ran some of these basic coach norm drills as well too. But you know, we're not getting a full scope of all the practices. I'm sure they're really getting advanced in there. And you know, he's starting from the bottom as well too with that team. So drilling in the fundamentals as always. And you know, Coach Pop, could Coach Norm have coached on Coach Popovich's staff, chat? And again, shout out to Coach Popovich as well too. The statements from the team have become official over the past couple of days about him not returning and for the season anyways, and like we were saying a couple live streams ago as well too, with just his general NBA future in question as well. You know, one of the absolute all-time just coaches. I forget who said that he might be the greatest coach of all time, which I was like upset. You know, we were of course greatest basketball coach of all time. It's not even a question for us, chat. But then somebody upped us and it was like, oh, greatest coach of all time. It's like, of course, how is that not just right away what we go to? But I mean, he's right in the mix, chat. He's right in the mix of this guy you'd want to operate your franchise as well, because that's the part that goes underrated, and that's kind of the thing that Andy Reid has going for him right now in some of the greater, and I don't know how this Gene Hackman role turned into a Rihanna role, chat, but some Gene Hackman and Rihanna clips mixed together. I mean, this seems like a win at the end of the day. But what were we saying? With Reid, yeah, with Reid, like if you look at him versus Belichick, it's like, which guy do you want in there just running things? And now the problem is Belichick now seems like kind of a much more fun guy. Like if Belichick was like dating 24-year-olds when he was coaching Brady, chat, like who knows? Maybe Belichick would have just, the opinion of Belichick would just be a little bit more optimistic from when he was actually coaching, and just his public persona maybe have taken a little bit of a stock up in that moment. But outside of Greg Popovich and Belichick and Reid, and you know, maybe some soccer guys that were missing out as well too, you know, some UFC trainers, like those guys got to get mixed in there for coaches and stuff like that. Jesus, Chad, it's 25-3. Boston is just killing Cleveland right now. Oh, yikes. Boston is unaliving Cleveland right now, chat. In the first quarter of this game, 6:45 left. And this is the last time these teams will meet in the regular season. They have alternated results right now. So 3 games in, Boston won the first, Cleveland won the second, Boston won the third. But Boston 2-1. Again, alternating, it's like, does Cleveland win this one? But the second and third games were both on the Cleveland home court as well, too. So it went in terms of, so for results, it went Boston, Cleveland, Boston, and now they're playing this one. But for location, it went Boston, Cleveland, Cleveland, and now they're playing this one in Boston. So again, the home court advantage, of course, is going to help the Celtics. They've got their just disgusting lime green font jerseys on, chat, which I'm not a fan of, but maybe the Cavs are just worse fans of these jerseys. They're just totally throwing them off right now. Just the neon glow just is striking right now, and they can't process. But maybe we need to actually lock in for a couple seconds. I mean, the Cavs and the Celtics will meet again, right, chat? And I mean, I guess these, Gene Hackman will live on still, right? He'll live on in the hearts and minds of people and on our TV screens forever. Like we're saying, this is one of the absolute just... And the amount of movies that you could just start from your first favorite Gene Hackman movie and work all the way to your last one and then go back and that almost could be your rotation. I know movies are like songs where you just go through your 7 songs, your 6 or 8 movies that you really like, and then you just start back and you're like, well, I guess it's just time to watch The Dark Knight again. But with Gene Hackman, you could go all the way from Bonnie and Clyde to Crimson Tide? What would be the last? Oh, Royal Tenenbaums? Yeah, I mean, look at all the way into the 2000s. It's like Nas, Chad. He's dropping classics in 4 decades. This guy's a great... The Replacements? Oh, Chad. I mean, I can't even remember all of the movies that we've named. We just keep naming movies. I mean, and these aren't movies that we're just naming. These are all movies starring Gene Hackman, Chad. Hall of Famer. I don't know if we need to do okay. What does Ranker say about best actors of all time, Chad? I don't want to, start comparing and contrasting in a moment where we're supposed to be honoring, but I don't feel like his name is, what am I doing, chat? I don't feel like his name is brought up like that. And maybe I'm just not as locked in on the best actor conversations like I am, maybe some of these other stuff. Best quarterbacks, best point guards, however you want to say it. But Morgan Freeman, number 1. Oh, Jack Nicholson, Daniel Day, Anthony Hopkins, Denzel, Pacino, De Niro. I mean, okay, all the names you'd expect so far. Morgan Freeman, Gary Oldman. Okay, if we're talking, the actor vibes, I get what you're getting at with Gary Oldman. Brad Pitt. Gary Oldman's definitely a safe bet for a movie. Oh, Downey at 7, chat. Clint Eastwood at 8. Brad Pitt at 9. Tommy Lee at 10. Tommy Lee's another one. I mean, imagine it. Do we need to go back and make sure that there's not like a Tommy Lee, Harrison Ford, Gene Hackman movie? I mean, come on, Chad. What kind of Expendables offshoot would that have been? I guess the Expendables are a bunch of hot guys. We got Sylvester, Statham, Van Damme. Is Arnold in the Expendables? I mean, he definitely could be. I just don't remember exactly. But Paul Newman, Joaquin Phoenix, Christopher Walken, Jeff Bridges, Liam Neeson. See, chat? Okay, Tom Hanks at 17. McConaughey, Hugh Jackman. See what I mean here? Matt Damon. This is no disrespect to these guys. James Stewart at 22. He could probably be a little bit higher on this list, definitely. We'd have to go back and, modern day, what is James Stewart doing in some of these action roles? But James Stewart also served as well, too. So, salute to James Stewart. And I'm pretty sure he could have adapted. Russell Crowe, Ed Norton, Philip Seymour Hoffman at 25. Ooh, Michael Keaton, John Malkovich. Chat, I bet people just have... See, people probably forgot about Gene Hackman. That's the only way that you wouldn't have have him ranked above some of these guys. Cary Grant, Patrick Stewart. How many votes can I put in for Gene Hackman here? How far up can we move him up the list? Donald Sutherland, Ben Kingsley, Christopher Lee, Gary Sinise, Tom Hardy, Gene Wilder, Ralph Fiennes, Joe Pesci, Robert Redford, 47? It's a little low, chat. It's a little low. Is Gene Hackman out of the top 50? 53. Oh, okay. Woo. That was close, chat. Okay, at least he's over. Viggo Mortensen, Forrest Whitaker, Sam Elliott. Okay, so I don't know what the tiers of like actors are here as well, too. It's just an individual ranking, but oh, Humphrey Bogart at 52. So, I mean, if that doesn't validate Gene Hackman's ranking as too low, then I don't know what does. Humphrey Bogart, neither of these guys should be outside the 50 unless outside the top 10, right? Am I crazy, chat? Humphrey Bogart, he's not a top 15 actor of all time. He's not one of the greats. Young Frankenstein? Oh, man, chat. Do we have to, like, log in to place a vote, or can we just vote Gene Hackman up? Okay, we can vote. Who are the 10K people voting Gene Hackman down, chat? What is Gene Hackman's past? Was there, like, a 2015 something that happened and the man racked up some down votes? I don't know, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the life and legacy. I mean, with all due respect to Danny DeVito, like, if you're casting a movie, chat, they both did play in superhero movies. Danny DeVito's in Batman Returns. Gene Hackman's in Superman. So, you know, if you're casting a superhero action movie, they both have the case. If you're casting a comedy, you know, what is Hackman's? But Hackman's a funny guy. Hackman maybe is not, you know, did he ever do the, like, full-on, I guess the Royal Tenenbaums. The Royal Tenenbaums is pretty funny. Even though it might be like a little bit of a different, is it like an Apatow Farrow thing, like we're saying? Oh, Will Ferrell of comedy, Will Ferrell. But J.K. Simmons, Woody Harrelson, Joe Pesci. I'm telling you, chat, like, and I don't mean to be caught up in the moment, but this is like a real, like, going back and looking at it. You know, it's up in our knowledge, chat. It's like if we do have to get into this, you know, AI, if it gets really good, and it's like we can cast an all-time movie, which, ooh, you know, you don't even think about that, chat. We're all so negative about AI. Is there a possibility where we could get a Gene Hackman in a movie with a guy like, you know, bring him back with some of these people? Maybe we can get that Gene Hackman, Harrison Ford, Tommy Lee Jones joint that we were talking about. There's a way, AI. You know, I'm not saying we need to AI all those guys, but maybe at this point we could. I don't know. Even though I think, you know, Tommy Lee and Harrison Ford are still going to give you, as long as it's not an Indiana Jones, like, Harrison Ford, he's still going to show up and give you a good performance, chat, maybe. But, yeah, I mean, Harrison Ford, you gotta put respect. And, you know, as much as we love Downey, like, Downey can do anything as an actor, for sure. But Downey doesn't have he just doesn't have the filmography that Hackman has. And Downey has a ton of movies because of the MCU, but that also is kind of, and, you know, we're not separating its own thing like maybe some people would. It's like, you know, Scorsese would be like, well, we have to separate that because it's not real cinema. But, you know, we're separating that is because, you know, in terms of just originality and stories and the variety, again, you're getting in that DVD stack. Like the MCU, if you're into it like we are, like, we could have a stack of DVDs with a bunch of MCU movies in it. And at the end of the day, we're not going to be too mad. Like, getting to rewatch Iron Man, and he's in Civil War and he's in the Avengers, like, there's going to be some good movies in there to go back and rewatch. And, I mean, it's Downey as well, too. In the MCU, like, some of the best movie-going memories for people our age, if not the best movie-going memories. So, I mean, if just anything, it's, oh, Clint Eastwood has more votes than Downey, though, chat. De Niro has double the votes than Downey. So, efficiency, Downey's shooting like 60% from his 70, I guess Hackman was like 60% for the votes. Downey's like 80% for the votes. But, and, you know, I don't want to underrate Downey's career, because, again, he goes to the actor, like, Downey's such a strong performer that a lot of his movies are great. And we love Downey as well. The reason I pick it on Downey, I feel like, is because, like, we love Downey. It's like his acting chops. Like, I feel like you can go back and check the tapes, chat. Like, you know, me and Sam have both, like, really been, and it's not a hot take, like, everybody loves Downey, but in terms of, especially when you get into the actor conversations, it's like, yeah, Downey is an actor level, an Oscar level actor. That makes total sense that he's able to eventually, you know, last year lock down a win in that category. With Oppenheimer, if I remember correctly, right, chat? He did get the win there. So Hackman, the 2-time winner for supporting. Do we need to go best supporting and see where that ranks? There's got to be somebody, yeah. Downey, the incumbent winner for Oppenheimer. But there's got to be somebody with, only one person with 3. Walter Brennan. Come and get it. Pause. Kentucky and the Westerner. Okay, so the 30s and the 40s. So basically since 1940, 2 is the most. So where's Hackman on this list, chat? He got 2 wins. Oh, did he get a best actor and a best supporting? Oh, maybe that's what it is. So then we'd have to go through and I guess look and see what the list would be if we're adding up the total actor wins. You know, what the crossover is there. But that is probably maybe even a more interesting list. Because, I mean, you see great actors. Like, Bridges could step up and be a lead actor or step up and be supporting. So did Bridges win? Am I crazy, chat? Let's see here. What movie would that even have been for? But I'm not seeing him. Oh, shout out Benicio del Toro. I forgot he won for Traffic. Yikes. But Benicio del Toro definitely deserves to get a win in there at some point. Okay, so yeah, I don't think Jeff Bridges actually won. But again, those are like a great actor can step up and be the lead guy or potentially, you know, step back and be the number 2 as well too in a movie. De Niro's getting best supporting actors, but noms, and you know, he can step up and be the best actor of all time if you need him to be. Where, you know, maybe Pesci is like a guy where is that actually like a best supporting actor? Like if you're, again, we're casting this all-time movie. I'm definitely underrating Joe Pesci by saying this. So Joe Pesci, don't hunt me down and beat me up for saying this. But, you know, I don't know if we're casting Joe Pesci in the lead role of our all-time movie. If we, you know, they talk about the basketball game. Do we need to steal that bit from the basketball game for the movies? Like, we always talk about if we need to play a basketball game against the aliens. But for some reason, if the aliens are like, okay, we need to make an awesome movie, just which actors from all time do we have to cast and bring in? And I guess, you know, there's also, like, if the aliens show up right now, unfortunately, you know, Gene Hackman didn't get to see the aliens show up. But, you know, like I was saying, Pesci may not go down. Like, Ed Harris, is Ed Harris going to be the lead actor? It would still be a great movie, I think. I mean, that would be a swing, chat. That would be like taking Iguodala right there. If you're like, the aliens got the death beam pointed at the Earth and you need one actor to do a monologue in a scene, I want Ed Harris. Like, that's Iguodala. That's the... Not to say that, you know, Ed Harris can't shoot threes, but if you could take Gene Hackman or Ed Harris, like, and you took Ed Harris, I'm not saying that Ed Harris wouldn't impress the aliens. I'm just saying that we know that Gene Hackman would impress. Like, we know Curry would make the threes. So if you want to make planet Earth sweat a little bit by lining up Iguodala, then go for it. You know, Kellerman really concerned about the TV value of it all. But anyways, I guess we could talk all day about Gene Hackman, apparently.